Hey, what's up, everybody? Tim Stoddard here with Copyblogger. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a really special presentation today, as is always the case when we do these live webinars, especially we had so many registrants sign up for this presentation. It's going to take a minute for people to start trickling in. So let's just get started. Pamela Wilson, you are joining us today to give your presentation, your slides. I have not seen this presentation. I'm really, really excited to learn from you.
Cool.
If you would like, please take a moment to introduce yourself, tell us about some of your work, and then we can get started.
I would love to. I am thrilled to be here. I'm so excited to be talking to the Copyblogger audience. I love talking to the Copyblogger audience. And what I'm going to be talking about today is this idea that we need to stop creating random content, stop committing random acts of content marketing. And what I want to show people is how they can create content in a way that's really custom to them and custom to their own needs and businesses, and is strategic so that it's directly linked to revenue. I'm very excited about this. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Tim.
Oh man, my pleasure. You kidding me? You're giving us the opportunity. I know when we first met each other, I was able to tell you just how long I've been reading your work and how much it helped me over the years. So no need to thank me. One last quick note before we get started. If there's any questions while Pamela is doing her presentation, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'm going to be here the whole time. I'm going to be taking notes on these questions. If we have a couple of minutes afterwards, I will answer some of these questions. But in order to do that, please click on that little chat button at the bottom, and you're going to see a drop down that just says all panelists. Please make sure it says all panelists and attendees. If you do that, then everybody can see the question. If not, it would just be Pamela and I that can see the question. So do me a favor, introduce yourself. I'll go first. Hi, I'm Tim. I live in Nashville. Let me know where you're from. So Janelle from Montana. What's up? Tara, Columbus, Ohio. I got all my best friends live in Columbus. I love that city.
Oh, cool. Oh boy, lots of people. This is great to see.
Yeah, this is always my favorite part. I'm still kind of new to like the live presentation thing, so sometimes I forget the steps, you know? And I gotta always make sure you give people a chance to introduce themselves and just see that, you know, Copyblogger is still all over the world. We got Copenhagen here, Ontario,
Ireland, South Dakota, yay, Italy, New York City, Canada. This is awesome. Thank you so much to everyone for being here. Do you want me to go ahead and dive in, Tim?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get started. I'm going to hand my screen over to you. And then I am still going to be here, but I'm going to stop my camera and I'm going to mute my mic so I don't interrupt. But I'm here taking note of all the questions. So like I said to everyone watching, please ask your questions. And you are now the host. So please help me welcome Pamela Wilson.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for being here. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stop my video as well. I have lots of notes. And I think if I keep my video on, you're just going to see me looking down at my notes. So I'm going to just dive into my presentation because I have a lot to cover. And this is the content profit formula. And I want to start out by just respecting your time so that you can spend it here if this is for you, and you can move on to something else if this is not for you. And so what I want to do is just tell you who this presentation is for. And this is for you if you are creating content marketing to promote a business. This is not a presentation for people who are writing to become writers. If you want to learn to write so that you can position yourself as a writer, I highly recommend Nicholas Cole's presentation for Copyblogger. You can find the replay on Copyblogger's YouTube channel. It is excellent. But I have to tell you that some of the concepts I'm about to share are the opposite of what Nicholas recommends. So I am counting on the fact that you're adults and that you can listen to this presentation and you can choose the approach that works best for you and your situation. And I am around to answer questions. Tim is also fielding questions. So if anything is unclear, just ask and we'll get everything straightened out. But the idea here is what we are exploring is the marketing aspect of content marketing. We're going to talk about how to get your content created and how to turn it into revenue in a way that's very strategic. And like we said at the top, this is all about no more random acts of content marketing. We're trying to avoid that. So after that introduction, I hope you're still here. And if you are still here, I want to say hello. My name is Pamela Wilson. I am the author of 2 best-selling books on content marketing, Master Content Marketing and Master Content Strategy. And you may know me as the founder of Big Brand System, which is the website I started in 2010. I'm also the former executive vice president of educational content for Copyblogger. And during the years that I worked for Copyblogger, Brian Clark, the CEO, put me in charge of the editorial team. So I was actually managing the content marketing efforts of the company, which I got to tell you, the whole thing felt kind of surreal because just a handful of years before that happened, I was convinced that I was not a writer. I wasn't a trained writer. I had a design and a marketing background. And like you, I mean, maybe like you, I didn't have a lot of time to create content. I couldn't figure out how to get it done. I didn't understand exactly how content was supposed to lead to revenue. I knew it was some kind of marketing vehicle, but like, how did that work? But over the years, I figured out a few things. I gained confidence as a content marketer, and I'm going to share some of those things with you today. My books, Master Content Marketing and Master Content Strategy, share what I learned as I built my own content and as I managed the content on Copyblogger. Now, you may recognize these 2 amazing content marketers, Brian Clark, the CEO of Copyblogger, the original founder of Copyblogger, not current CEO, Tim's the CEO, but the founder of Copyblogger, wrote the foreword for my first book, and then John Morrow, who is the founder of Smart Blogger, wrote the foreword of my second book. Today, I'm a business coach. So what I'm going to be doing today is asking you coaching questions because I really want to help you to assess where you are and figure out what you need. So I want to ask you to keep your fingers near your keyboard because I'm going to be feeding you questions. And this is the first question. And this is a super easy one. We're starting out with a super easy one. I just want to know, do you use content marketing right now? And if you do, just type Y. And if you don't, just type N. So super easy. Y for yes, N for no. So we have mostly yeses, which is great to see, but there are a few no's. So of all the people who said yes, and lots and lots and lots of people are saying yes, which is awesome to see, I want to ask you a follow-up question. If you said, yes, you're using content marketing, I want to ask you, how's it going? And you don't have to share this. This is really just for you, but I just want you to start thinking about it. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how is it going with your content marketing? So 10 is like, I'm a content marketing machine. I know what to write. I know how to produce it. I know how to publish it. And I know how to make my content lead to revenue. And 1 is like, my content marketing is stalled. I'm stuck. I don't know how to use it. I have a bunch of half-finished pieces of content that are sitting on my computer, or I just write when I feel like, and I don't really have a plan. And I see a lot of really brave people who are sharing their results. So thank you. Thank you for being brave. And I see numbers all over the map. So what I want to tell you is no matter where you are on this spectrum of 1 to 10, welcome. I want you to know that if you're feeling like you have a lot to learn, I am with you because I showed you a bio slide. And of course, that was like the highlights of my story, but that was not my whole story. I want to share the story of my mid-career crisis. And this is kind of embarrassing, but I want to share it with you in case it helps you. So about 12 years ago, I was kind of at the midpoint of my career and I started to evaluate where I was. I had a service-based business. It was a design and marketing consultancy. So that was my business. And I knew I wanted to do something different, but I wasn't sure what to do. All I knew for sure is that I wanted to make the second half of my career epic. And I also wanted it to reflect my priorities. And there were two really big priorities for me. One of them is I wanted to take ownership over my own time. I was in this position where I was kind of selling my time to clients, and I wanted to take it back. I wanted to own my own time so that I could use it as I wanted. And I also wanted my business to reflect my values. I wanted to serve others. I wanted to coach them. I wanted to provide business coaching. And I wanted to share my knowledge of design and marketing and systems and processes. So if you know anything about me, I'm big on systems and processes. I knew I wanted to serve as many people as possible with those things. And I didn't want to be limited to my own geographic area. I did have an advantage. So I'll tell you what my advantage was. When I started my business way back in my 20s, I figured out, even at that very young age, how to position myself as the expensive option. And my services were expensive. They were more expensive than my competitors, even when I was just starting out. And I figured out how to do this. And the way I did this was I developed custom solutions for my clients. I would listen to their needs, I would get to know their customers, and then I would design a custom solution. And then I charged premium rates for it. And my clients used to say to me, "You're expensive, but you're worth it." And that was very early on in my career. I was young, but I figured this out. And it was something I had going for me, that I figured out that custom solutions had a higher value. Well, like I said, here I was. I wanted to build a business online. I wanted to reach more people and help more people. So like a lot of us, I signed up. I started reading everything I could. I started listening to podcasts and watching videos and attending webinars like this one and taking courses. And what I noticed is that everyone was kind of saying the same thing. And what they were saying was, make your expertise accessible. And they said, like, use my formula to create a sales funnel, or use my formula to build a value ladder, or use my formula to launch your offer. And I got to admit, I fell for all those formulas, hook, line, and sinker. I tried so many different formulas. And what I found was nothing really worked like it was promised. And to be honest, I felt kind of dumb that I fell for all those formulas. But eventually, I remembered what I knew early on in my career, and I kind of went back to my roots. It took me a really long time to realize that the road to real success was harder to walk, but it worked better. And it was to embrace this idea of creating custom solutions, not to use other people's formulas, and not to just plug into somebody else's solution, but to develop something that worked for me. And this is what helped me to create profitable content marketing. And, it was a hard lesson to learn, but I'm grateful. I had to sort of learn it the hard way, and I did it the wrong way for a long time. But I'm grateful. You have to be grateful for the lessons you learn in life. So I want to deliver kind of bad news and good news to you right now. So the bad news is that there is no single formula for content marketing. There's nothing that's going to work equally for everyone. But, I think deep down, you probably already know that, right? The good news, though, is that you can create your own custom solution for content that generates revenue. It is not a quick fix, and it's a little bit harder to do, but it works so much better. So we're going to apply this approach of custom solutions to content marketing today. But just so you know, very briefly, I want to let you know that I teach people how to do this with their online offers in my Offer Accelerator program. This is the URL. It's theofferaccelerator.com. And this is like a custom solution approach to creating an online offer that you can sell. So that's the URL if you want it, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. So back to the story. So in the midst of figuring all of this out, I learned content marketing. I learned from Copyblogger like Tim did. You know, Copyblogger was really my primary resource for learning content marketing. But then I had to come back and figure out how to actually get it produced consistently. Even though I was running my own business, my kids were in high school, I was super busy. So, what I want to teach you today is how you can create that custom content plan that aligns with your revenue goals, that aligns with your personal values, and that aligns with the audience that you're trying to reach. You do have to do the hard work of coming up with this custom plan. It's not a formula. That would be nice, but that's not what this is. This is approach that's it's harder to do, this approach, but it works better. And the really, really great news is you only actually have to do this once. So here's a question, and you can just answer, you don't have to answer in chat. You can just answer in your head, but like, I just want you to think for a minute, like, what if you did have a custom content plan and a process that was tailored to your own goals and your own values and your own audience? That's what I'm about to show you. And I have to say, it's deceptively simple, but I'm telling you that this stuff works. Of course, it only works if you put it to work. So Joe Hatcher is someone who has used this process, and she says, I've been able to be more strategic and clear with how I express myself. I'm finding that I use the 7 steps each time I write a new article, and it's making me more rigorous and thoughtful about how I write. So that's our goal here. There's not a single formula. You have to sort of develop your own process and your own voice. And doing that is what's going to make your content unique and memorable and profitable. So you ready to get custom? Let's get custom. We have 2 things we're going to cover, 2 really big concepts. And the first one is that I want to show you how you can create content that supports your time and your values. I'm going to show you a process that honors your energy and it leads to better quality content marketing. The second thing I'm going to show you is how to connect your content marketing to your revenue goals. So this is that no more random acts of content marketing thing. I'm going to show you something that I call my PS method. Let's start with the first concept, and it's this idea that you can create content in a way that honors your time and honors your values. This is my lazy way that you can snap together content. And I want to introduce you to this concept so that you understand it. And it is called the 4-day content creation system. Now, when I start talking about this, a lot of people say, let me go back to this slide so you can see a lot of people say to me, I don't have 4 days to spend on content, but believe it or not, this approach is going to save you time. And it is so much easier if you don't create content in a single large block of time. When you spread the process out, the quality of your content improves. So here's how it works. First of all, I want you to start by asking yourself, what day of the week do I want to publish content? So figure out your publication day, and then you're going to work backward from the day you want to publish and assign specific days of the week to the tasks that I'm just about to outline. So I see a couple of people who are getting impatient with the pace of this presentation, and I just want to let you know that there will be a replay. And if you have something else you need to do, feel free to log off and you can watch the replay. For everyone else, what day of the week do you want to start publishing, and then work backward and assign specific days of the week to the tasks that we're about to go over? So we have day 1, day 2, day 3, and day 4. Let's look at day 1. This is where your content process will start. And what I want to ask you to do on day 1 is to pick your topic. This sounds easier than maybe it is. You got to figure out what you're going to create content around. And then once you've picked your topic, you will write your headline and your subhead. So I have some tips for all of these things. First of all, when you're writing your headline, I highly recommend that you generate a whole bunch of headlines. The first headlines you think of tend to be kind of cliche versions of what you want to say, or maybe they're regurgitated versions of headlines you've already seen. I recommend you discard those and stick with the headlines you come up with after you've written a whole bunch of headlines. Then I want you to write your subheads, and your subheads will move your reader through your information. So Noel is asking how many subheads for about 500 words. 500 words is actually a little bit shorter than I recommend for written content. And we're going to talk more about that in just a moment, but I would say for 500 words, you could probably do 3 subheads. But Noel, I recommend that you write a little bit more than that. So we'll talk about that in actually the next slide. So we're writing your headline and your subheads. And what is the purpose of this? The purpose of this is that we want to build a backbone for your content. We want to create a content structure that you're going to hang the rest of your words on. And when you have that basic structure for your content, that is all you need to do on the first day. So what I want to ask you to do is to have some faith, walk away, and take a break from your content. Because once you have this basic structure, that's all you have to do on day 1. On the second day, what you want to focus on is creating your first draft. So this is the day when you're going to do the majority of your content creation. And what I want to recommend that you do is you get this first draft, this raw content created as quickly as you can. And this can be a very messy first draft. So for example, we're talking about written content here, but a lot of people create podcasts or they create a series of videos. And on this day, you basically want to be recording your first draft of your podcast or recording the first draft of your video, or you want to get that first draft written. Now, Noel was asking about the length of your content, and I recommend somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 words. This is usually what the search engines are looking for these days. The average is about 1,250, but this is a rule of thumb. Obviously, you want to write as much as you need to write and not more. I think 500 words may be a little bit on the short side. Vivi is asking, should you do multiple topics on day 1? I actually recommend a single topic. Just focus on one topic and get that structure. Astrof is saying, I'm going to watch the replay. That is awesome. I'm glad to hear that. And Rhonda is saying, thank you for reminding me to walk away from my content. You know what's amazing, Rhonda, is that when you walk away from your content, your brain actually continues to work on it. So it's really amazing how you can continue to get ideas about your content when you take a break from it. Julie is asking, how do you relate this to social media posts? We're about to cover that, so stick with me. And Anthony is asking about the length of a video, and I'm not a video expert, so I'm not going to try to answer that one. And Jennifer's asking, do people actually read 1,500 words online? Yes, they do, but only if you format it, which is what we're going to talk about on the next slide. So let's get to that. And thank you for those of you who stuck with me. I know some people logged off early, and that I am totally fine with that. Honestly, I really just want people who are here to learn. So thank you for those who stuck with me so that we could really dig into the meat of this presentation. So we're on day 3 of our 4-day content creation system. And on day 3, we've done something really important. So let me show you this. We worked on creation in day 1, and we worked on creating your first draft in day 2. Then we had this pause where we're going from creation to editing. And that pause is so important because actually you are using a different part of your brain when you're doing the content creation compared to the part of your brain that you need to engage when you're actually editing your content. So not doing this on the same day is absolutely crucial. It gives your brain a chance to reset so that when you come back to your content on day 3, you are seeing it with fresh eyes. And those fresh eyes will help you to look at your content and say, I need to add something to it. I need to delete something to it. Delete something from it. There's something that's not clear. I'm going to polish it up. And then on this day, it's really important. Once you have that first draft polished up, I want you to go in and format it for readability, for written content especially. You want to do things like add bulleted lists and add block quotes and make sure you aren't using super long paragraphs. The end goal of this content is for it to be very, very skimmable. We want people to be able to go through it and capture what they need very quickly. In some cases, people only read the subheads, so make sure your subheads are delivering some really good information. I also highly recommend that you add images, especially if you have longer content, because images help to break up your longer content and again, just keep pulling people down the page and reading your content. And Ian is saying, I have found that giving myself permission to do a messy first draft reduces anxiety around getting the result right. And I love that. It's so important because honestly, on day 2, all you want to do is get that first draft written. You don't want to do any kind of editing at all. All the editing happens on the day 3. David's asking about research, and I got you covered, David. We're just about to go over that. All right. And Paris Du says, this is a good presentation. Goodbye to all the hungry ghosts. All right. Well, no judgment. I get it. You know, some people, you know, have different priorities, but that's okay. I am so glad that you're all here. So here we are. This is day 4. We have created our content and then we've given it a pause so that we could go back and see it with fresh eyes. We polished it up and now we're publishing it. Publication day is day 4. And on this day, we want to publish it on social platforms. We want to send it to our email list if we have an email list. And I highly recommend that you set it up for ongoing promotion. And what I mean by that is you want to promote it several times on the week that it's fresh and new and recently published, but you also want to continue to send people back to it over time. So you can do things like add a link to your piece of content to an autoresponder that you send to your email list, for example. Or you can put it into, if you use any kind of social software that repeats, you can put it into that repeating social software. All right. And David asked about research. So this one's for you, David. Not everyone writes posts that require targeted research, but if you are someone who needs to research before you can write your content, I recommend that you add a day 0 to this process. And the day 0 obviously happens a day before you create your content background. And the big tip that I have for you, David, and anyone else who has to create research is that you set a timer, because I think we all know that research can be a huge rabbit hole that we fall down. And if you set a timer, if you say, I'm going to research for 30 minutes or I'm going to research for 45 minutes, and you just give yourself a hard deadline for your research, that can help you to just not fall down the research rabbit hole. So what I want to ask you to do is I want to ask you to really try this system. And the system is that you pick your publication day and you work backward, and then you assign days of the week to these different tasks involved in creating your content. And the beautiful thing about this system is you can actually use your calendar to create content. So for example, if it's Monday, it's first draft day. And if it's Tuesday, it's polishing and editing day. And if it's Wednesday, it's publication day. Those are not necessarily the days that are going to work for you, but you know what I mean. You're basically using the calendar to do these content marketing tasks. Now, I want to ask you if you can commit to just trying to create content over 4 days, just once. Just give me a Y or an N in chat. Yes, you're willing to try it, or no. And the reason I'm asking this is that I cannot tell you how many people have come up to me and said, you know, I resisted your 4-day content creation system. I just never really tried it, but I finally tried it. And you know what? It works. So I want to ask you to try it just once, because I think when you do have a process for getting your content created that works with your own schedule, that is step one to creating a custom process that will work for you. So 2 steps. And Steve is saying only 45 minutes for research. Steve, that is a your mileage may vary thing. So you're going to have to figure out how much research you need to do. A lot of people I'm able to write most of my posts. I mean, I've been in my career for more than 30 years. So most of my posts just come out of my brain. But if you have to do a lot of research, you're going to have to figure out how to make that research time work for you. So just adapt this method to your own situation. All right, step 2. Let's figure out how to connect your content to money, to revenue goals. Your content will create revenue when you are very strategic about how you create it and how you publish it. This is how you do this. Again, it's going to seem deceptively simple, but this is actually really powerful. And the way you do this is you use a method that I call the PS method. And I call it the PS method because that just makes it easy to remember. And once it's in place, you're able to use this for all your upcoming promotions. You can tie your content into revenue with this process. So this is how it works. There are 2 steps. Planning is the first one. And what you're going to do is you're going to plan your promotions in advance and put them on a calendar. And the idea here is we want to know in advance when we have a promotion coming up. And the reason for that is that the other thing you're going to do is plan your content in advance and also put that on the calendar. So planning is the first step. The second step is we're going to do something that's called seeding. And the idea behind seeding is we want to start seeding the idea of our promotion, the topic. We want people to start pivoting and thinking about our topic well in advance of when we're going to promote that. And the way we do this is we create content around the topic of your upcoming promotion, and then you're going to seed that content with mentions of your upcoming promotion. And when you do this, you get people thinking about your topic, and you very subtly prepare them for the promotion that's coming up so that when the promotion arrives, it feels like the most natural thing in the world. It's something that you are talking about. It's a topic that's been on everyone's minds. Now, this is a very simple approach. I'm telling you, nothing I'm teaching you today is very complicated. The magic happens when you actually put it to use. Let's see what it looks like. So I've pulled out a calendar here, and let's say that you have a promotion that's planned for the 2nd week of February. Now, don't be shocked. I am going to ask you to start pivoting your content marketing, your content topics, a full month in advance of your promotion dates. So I always like to use examples. So let's have an example here. Let's say that you coach people who are in midlife, and you coach them on how to lose weight with this proprietary method that you've developed, okay? So that's our example. So you decide that in the 2nd week of February, you're going to promote your coaching. Beginning on January 15th, you start creating content. So maybe you create a piece of content about how losing weight can help you to live longer, and this creates interest in your topic. And then the next week, you create a piece of content about why existing weight loss methods don't work. And this builds your authority because it shows people that you know something about this topic that other people don't. Then you create a piece of content about how to prepare your pantry for weight loss. And that's got a lot of really actionable information. Then you create a piece of content about why midlife weight loss is different than weight loss earlier in life and what works. And that helps people to feel like this is possible, and it gives them a lot of hope. Then what you're going to do is you'll take these topics, and for the person who asked about where does social media fit into all of this, well, this is your slide, okay? The green dots that you see on the slide are all social media posts that are building on those exact same topics that we talked about for the content on your site. You're going to be creating graphics about those topics, videos, text posts, and you'll share in-depth information about the topics of your content marketing on your website. Does anyone have questions on this? This was a lot. All right, so Carmen says, I like PS, and Fernando's going, oh my gosh, this is perfect timing. I have a major thing that I need to promote exactly a month from now. Tom is asking about the slides, and the slides will be available. Tamira is saying this is an amazing tip. If anyone has questions, just ask them, but I want to move on because I want to show you how you can do this in a more global sense. So in a more global sense, what we want to do is look at our quarter and think about where our promotions are going to hit in our quarter. So here we have a quarter in front of us on this calendar. We have a promotion happening the second week of April, another the last week of May, another the last week of June. And what we're going to be doing is working backwards from those dates. When you do this, you're able to plan your promotions and then use seed content on your website and on social media. And this allows you to plan an entire quarter of profitable content topics. I want to hear questions before I move on to the next section. And Michael saying, is Wednesday the best day for web hosting? That was just my example, Michael. So what I always recommend to people is that you think about your audience. Wednesday might be a great day for your audience, but let's say you post about weekend activities. In that case, you want to post on Fridays, right? So just think about your audience when you decide your publication day. You also might publish more often than once a week, or you might publish every couple of weeks. It just depends. Jessica's saying, how can I make a plan for all of this that actually works? I mean, specifically, do you have any advice for the social media plan? And what I recommend when you use this method is that you, and I think Tim would agree with this, that you use the content on your website as the primary theme for the content that you're going to use on social media. So you sort of develop the thinking in the content that is published on your home base, which is your website. And then you use excerpts from that content. If you're doing a video series, for example, like a vlog, then you could use excerpts from your video. If you're doing written content, you can use excerpts from your written content, and you use those ideas on social media. And Drade is asking, how does this work for a service business that's not creating course type content? It absolutely works, because if you are promoting any kind of service, you can use this method to develop your promotions and then promote them on your website or promote them on social media. And yeah, Meg is saying, I work for a B2B a SaaS provider, basically. So yeah, this totally works. So what you want to do is figure out, are you going to run some kind of a promotion? Maybe it's a discount or a special bonus, and you place those promotions on a calendar and work backward. And let's see, Tamira is saying, can we recommend this method to clients for testing created by us in advance of launch? I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. So this method works really well, and you should probably test it yourself before you recommend it to clients. I don't know if I've answered that, but Nicole is saying, after your website is the primary, how many other social media channels best to promote? I always recommend 1 or 2 social media channels, that you just dive deep into 1 or 2. And Rhonda's saying, I'm good with the ideas. I can see how this plan could help with even more. And Robert is asking if this training dovetails with Brian Clark's training. And I actually don't know, because I'm not familiar with it. So I am not familiar. I'm sorry. I can't answer that one. All right, let me go into just a quick review so you understand how you can use this PS method, because this is really where your content turns into money. I want you to think about what offer you want to promote, and this could be a service or a product, it doesn't matter. Just think ahead about your promotions and then grab a calendar and find a week or a date when you're going to run that promotion. And then I want you to work backward and map out your content onto a calendar. Figure out what themes you're going to talk about and get it all mapped onto a calendar so you know what content to create. And then work backward and sprinkle in all those beautiful social media posts that you're going to use that will develop those same themes that you talked about in your content. All right, I want to ask you this. I want to ask you to make a commitment here for everyone who has stuck with me to this point in the presentation. Well, first of all, Tim is saying that this dovetails with Brian's training and certification because it's all about strategy. And if you follow this system, you're going to be able to execute. So that's a great answer. I didn't know that, so thank you. All right, everybody. Are you ready to say no more content for the sake of content? I am hoping that you've gotten enough now that you're ready to make this commitment. And I love that everybody's already putting in why. Why for yes, why for yes. Awesome. That is great. Yeah, I'm really glad to see that. If we are going to go to all the effort of creating content marketing, you have to tie it to revenue, honestly, because your time is valuable, my time is valuable, and you need to make sure that you are getting something from it. So don't commit random acts of content marketing. Make your content marketing efforts matter. And when you tie it to revenue, like I said at the top, that is what puts the marketing in content marketing. So what if you could gain confidence and mastery as a content creator so you could experience all of these benefits, the revenue, the reach, the business growth? And what if you could customize this process and attract the right people to your site, build an audience for your offers, and map the whole thing to your revenue goals? Well, I have a program that does this, and I want to tell you about it. But before I go into it, I want to tell you who it's not for, because I want to respect your time. Like I said at the top of the hour, this is not going to be for everyone. So if you're someone who said, I'm not using content marketing, if you don't want to use content marketing, this is really not for you. And if you don't write for business, if you're someone who is writing because you love writing and you want to be a writer and that's just your whole motivation, that is awesome, but you don't need this program. So if you don't want to write for business, you're not going to need what's in the Content Lab. And if you aren't trying to use content marketing to earn revenue, then you really don't need this either. So if that's not you, no hard feelings, you can log off. I am going to tell you about the Content Lab. And if you want to hear about it, then stick around. So if you are ready to do these things, this is how you would take the next step. Once you sign up for the Content Lab, what you can look forward to is 6 weeks from now, you're going to be able to consistently and easily create professional level content marketing on your time. And you're going to have a promotions calendar that supports your business goals. You'll know what content to create, and you'll know how to get it created, and you'll have a custom plan. And that is 6 weeks from now. So imagine when you have all that content created a year from now that's generating revenue for you. This course that I'm going to tell you about is the culmination of all my best content marketing training. It goes way beyond any articles I've written or the books I've written or really anything we've covered today. We've really just scratched the surface of the concepts that are in this course. It helps you to find your best content process, develop your content voice, which is really important because remember, we want this whole thing to be custom. This is not a formula. This is custom to you. Now, you may know John Naster. John Naster is now working with Copyblogger. He is an online business consultant, and he has a site called hacktheentrepreneur.com. And John used the system that I teach to double his content output and increase organic traffic to his website by more than 950% in 1 year. This material has changed lives. Martin Pig took the course and said the pacing was perfect and it allowed me to get a clear understanding of the content without feeling overwhelmed. I've spent a lot of money on courses that didn't deliver the kind of value for the money that the Content Lab did. I do have a special offer because I love Copyblogger readers. So I put together a special offer, and I want to tell you first what's in it, but I have a special price for it. So this is what's inside. There is a welcome module. There are 6 training modules, and there are 44 lessons, which sounds like a lot, but they're super short. And there are 4 amazing bonuses worth $1,650. I'll tell you more about those in just a minute. And it has worksheets, spreadsheets, templates, checklists. It has video training, and it includes live group coaching, which is pretty cool. I call them content appreciation sessions. And the reason I call them that is because I spend at least as much time telling you what you did right with your content as I do telling you what could use improvement. So that's why I call them content appreciation sessions. I don't call them critiques or anything like that. By the end of our time working together, you're going to have a publishing plan that includes goals for how often to publish new content, what you should create content about, and how your content is going to support your revenue goals. Plus, you'll have this simple custom process for creating content, and you'll have lots of time so that you can practice what you learn. This is one of those courses where I give you access for the lifetime of the course, so you can take your time working your way through the materials. You'll have prompts. So if you're one of those people who has a lot of content already, or you have content created and you want to kind of maximize it, you'll have prompts that will help you to repurpose your content on social media, in email marketing, and in completely different formats so that you can really maximize the impact of every piece of content that you create. Plus, you'll get tools and skills that will help you to enjoy the promise of profitable content marketing. Very quickly, here's what's in the modules. I'm going to show you how to pinpoint your website lifecycle stage. So that will help you to figure out how often you need to publish. I also show you how to identify your content strengths, because all of us have content strengths. We all have things that we just do well. And I want you to be able to leverage those strengths. I also have a really fun lesson that's called, it's all about how to identify your UCV, which is your unique content voice. And this is part of that process of developing custom content that really is tailored to you. This is where we're getting away from the formulas. And I'm going to show you a winning content structure that makes it much easier to create high quality written content, video content, podcasts. You can even use it for social media and email marketing. I give you a content starter sheet, and I show you this content production process. It's the 4-day content creation system, but kind of like on steroids, because I go into a lot more detail. And I give you something called the content topic tree. And this helps you to ensure that all the content you create is related back to one core topic. I also give you a content creator blueprint, and this is going to help to kickstart your content creation process. In addition, in the 3rd module, this is where we really pivot. Once you kind of know how to get the content created, we're going to pivot to figuring out how to tie it to revenue. I'm going to show you how you can use content to build awareness and excitement for whatever it is you're going to promote. I'll teach you a very simple copywriting technique that will help your promotional content to work better. And then for those of you who are asking about the promotions calendar, I actually have one in this course. And this will help you to map out your marketing promotions and figure out where you can plug content in to promote whatever it is you're going to be selling. In Module 4, I give you this content planner and master index. I was actually talking to Charlie Gilkey on Twitter yesterday. He's a productivity geek, and he was asking about how he could create an index for his content. And I said, actually, I invented that because it didn't exist and I wanted it. So I have this master spreadsheet that I give you that shows you every piece of content you've created, the goal you had for the content, the keywords you were targeting, the calls to action that you included, the categories you used. It's all there in a single glance, and it's really, really helpful. In Module 5, we focus on social media and email marketing and all the things that you can use to kind of expand your reach and get your content in front of more people. And then in Module 6, we talk about repurposing, because the whole point of this course is to help you create content. And I want you to be able to squeeze every drop of value out of the content you create. So I give you an idea bank that will show you how you can leverage the content you have and repurpose it into new formats. I do have some bonuses. One of the bonuses is I have a private Facebook group. So you get access to the private Facebook group and to me for 6 months. And I have to tell you about this. So I watched last month's presentation, and I heard some people asking about SEO. And Tim is a true SEO expert, but a lot of the people I teach are not SEO experts. So I created this lesson in the Content Lab that's only about 15 or 20 minutes long, and it really simplifies the SEO process. And a lot of my students have said, oh, okay, I finally get it. So it's a really short but powerful lesson about how to optimize your post or any content you're creating so that it will rank in search engines and get found by the people you're creating it for. I also include these plug and play email marketing templates, because those of us who are creating content are oftentimes building an email list as well. So I have templates that will help you to welcome new subscribers, and I have templates that will help you to share new content, because that's something a lot of us do as well. We email our list to tell them we have a new post or a new podcast episode or a new video. And then, as I mentioned, content appreciation sessions. These are a lot of fun. They're once a month. They are recorded, so you can send in your content and I will give it a good close look at, and I'll give it a review. And then you can just watch the replay if you can't be there live. I have two payment plans I'm going to tell you about them in a sec. If you use the one payment plan, I give you a few extra things. So one of them is a plug and play content template that will help you to write your homepage and your about page. These are 2 pages that give people a lot of trouble, and I'm trying to make it easy. So these templates will help you to figure out what to say on those pages so you can get that content created. The other thing is, if you are not as lucky as Tim and I, and you don't have someone like the amazing Stephanie Flaxman to look at your content, but you have to edit your own content, which is what I'm doing most of the time on my own site, there are a few tips that you can use that will help you to edit more effectively. And I've put them all together into a bonus lesson that you get when you pay with the one payment plan. And it's 7 ways to polish your content before you publish. And then the final bonus for people who pay in full is this content starter ebook. And this is, if you're one of those people who kind of gets the blank page blues and you can't figure out what to write about, this will help you get started. So let's talk about the investment. Now that I've told you about the course, this is kind of my zone of genius. I love teaching content marketing. And I know how to teach it to people who either, you can have some content marketing experience or you might be starting from scratch. I've just found that when I teach it, people sort of get it. And it's probably because I started as a beginner and I still remember those days. So the investment, if you hired me to coach you through this, it would be about $5,700. It would take 6 months. And between you and me, I don't actually do that. So there's that. You could also take a college course or an in-person class, and that would be based on the college course credit cost right now. It'd be about $3,500. Right now, my book, Master Content Marketing, is actually being used at the college level to teach content marketing. It's not as good as this course, though. And this course costs a heck of a lot less than taking a college course. The total value of all the training and the templates, the tools, the community, and all of the resources in this program is $4,100. But you can enroll today for $89 today, and then 6 payments of $89 to follow. Now, if you want those pay in full bonuses, the pay in full price is $595. So you do save a little bit and you get $800 in extra bonuses. This is a special price because the Content Lab is $750. So the Copyblogger price for this course is $595. Now, I think that Tim is going to put a link so that you can explore the course and get yourself signed up. I'm hoping you can drop that into chat, Tim. It's really simple to get started. So when you land on the checkout page, it's going to look like this. You have the two pricing options, and you just pick the payment plan that works best for you and click that complete order button, and you get immediate access to the course. You can log in right away and you can start using that welcome module. That's the one that has that unique content voice information and the one that has the information about finding your content strengths. People seem to love that module. You can also get immediate access to the Facebook community, and I'm in there. I will say hello. I would love to see you there. And I just want to let you know that this is an opportunity that you can get started very inexpensively. It's $89, 6 more monthly payments of $89, or you can pay in full, pay that $595 price and get $800 worth of extra bonuses. It's an opportunity to work with me, and I would love to work with you to develop this custom plan for your content marketing that leads to revenue. I would be honored to work with you. Now, you may have some questions, and I see some things coming in chat, and what I'm going to do is stop sharing my screen, put my video back on. Hello, everyone. And stop my screen share. All right, here we are back. So I am super happy to answer questions. And, you know, when you tell people about your course that you've developed, it's always a little nerve-wracking. So I so appreciate everyone who has stuck all the way to the end and listened to the information about my program and listened to the information that I taught you about content marketing. If you have any questions at any point about the content that I taught, about the program, please drop them in the chat. I'm happy to stick around and answer. The pay in full bonuses, Deb is asking about that. So we have templates for writing your home and about page, a special course about editing your content. If you're somebody who has to edit your content on your own, I have some tips for how to polish your content and make sure it is the best quality you can get if you're not working with an editor, which most of the time I'm not. When I send a post into Copyblogger, I'm lucky enough to work with Stephanie Flaxman, the amazing editor-in-chief there. But most of the time I'm editing my own content. So that course will teach you that. And then I have that Content Starters ebook, which will just give you some prompts if you're stuck on what to create your content about. So let's see. Terrence is saying the presentation gave me some great ideas for going forward. And Nicole is saying, thank you for the 4-day content creation system and the info on the course. Awesome. And okay, Rhonda's asking, do you feel like your program works for large and small companies and individuals, freelancers alike? I'm so glad you asked that, Rhonda. You're asking really good questions in this presentation. So what I have found is that what's been really interesting to me is I created the program for people who have a business or who are helping businesses. But there are people who have taken my Content Lab course who have turned around and started marketing themselves as content marketers. So I think it can work either way. There is a guarantee, and I should have mentioned that. There's a 30-day guarantee. So if you're not sure, you can sign up. And if you get in there and start digging into the material and you discover it's not really going to serve your needs, just let me know. Just reply to any of my emails and I'll refund you, and no hard feelings at all. So it's an opportunity for you to check it out. You can see if it's going to work. So let's see. And Peter is asking if it's available for offline review, that he joined late. It will be on the Copyblogger YouTube channel, I think tomorrow. So it'll be available for easy review. You can pause, fast forward over anything you want. And Samuel's going to register tomorrow. Hope it's not too late. It is not too late. I am going to hold this price for Copyblogger readers. So I know best practices for marketing say that we should give you the price for a short time, but I'm going to hold it for Copyblogger readers. I would love to help as many of you as possible. Honestly, I love working with Copyblogger readers. So if you're interested, you can click that link and get into the program whenever you want. This is special for you. So, and David said, you started me down the road I'm on today. Your advice in 2010 was pure gold. Oh my goodness, David. Yes, we go way back, don't we? That's awesome. All right. And I'm looking to see if there are any more questions. Just some thanks. So thank you so much. Thank you for sticking through all the way to the end. I really appreciate it. And Willie is asking about using different credit cards. So I am set up on a shopping cart that you can purchase with one credit card, and then you can actually go in and on your own, you can change your credit card information using my card. So that is no problem. You can start with one card and switch to another if you need to. And Terrence says, I really respect that you're not doing the standard act right now. So I'm not sure what the standard act is, but like I said in this presentation, it's all about being custom, right? It's all about finding what works for you. Is that you back on, Tim?
Yes, I'm here. I turned my mic back on a little while ago. I was just, you were on a roll answering questions, so I didn't want to interrupt. But here I am.
Cool. Good to see you.
Likewise, excellent presentation. I just wanted to comment on something which I think is so important. And as you were doing the presentation, I realized like, oh, I wonder if that's why Pamela and I always got along so well, because so much of content creation, and even when you get into social media, like outside of writing, even getting into video and podcasts and editing, it's all about just this creation phase, right? Like, how do I create great work? And as creatives, so often we forget about the actual like execution side. You know, there's like logistics behind timing and behind planning, you know, and behind like just setting things on the calendar, which I know I struggle with. And even just having a real simple formula to say, on this day, do this, on this day, do this. And then every Monday you're publishing a new piece of work. That's how businesses are made, right? It's not all about just creating great work. It's about making money. And I know that you and I agree with that. So I really
absolutely, yeah. And you know, it's interesting that you're talking about creativity, because as someone who has been in a creative field my entire career, what's so interesting is the best creativity comes out when you have some limitations, right? When you sort of say, okay, we need to make something creative that fits within this structure. And that's when you get really creative, honestly. When it's just, you know, a wide open horizon and you can create something based on nothing, you don't tend to be as creative. It can actually feel a little bit more daunting. But when you sort of say, okay, I have to do something creative about this topic on this date, those kinds of restrictions actually can bring out some of your best creative thinking. That's what I've found. Have you found that?
Of course. Yeah. There's a friend of mine, not to get too much into the conversation, but there's a guy I'm a friend with on Twitter. He runs a brand called Visualize Value, and his only rule is it has to be a black backdrop. He's a designer, and he can only use circles, triangles, and lines in all of his content. And it's so creative because with that restraint, you have to just think outside the box on how you can deliver a message. I think the same is true with everything.
I love it. I totally agree. Absolutely.
Great. Well, just a reminder to everybody, if you have any questions about the presentation, if anything popped up, you can always email me directly at help@copyblogger.com. The video is going to be published again on YouTube. And of course, I'm going to send that out to all the registrants of this presentation. In addition, I think we have just some more goodies that we're going to email out to people through an autoresponder that you put together. If I'm not mistaken, I'm going to say it anyway. And if we don't have it, then we'll build it for you. Is there anything else that you want to end with, Pamela? How
That's it. I want to let people know that link that we shared, there's actually a chat box on that page. So if you watch this presentation live or you're watching the replay and you have a question you want to ask directly to me, you can use the chat box. There's a little chat bubble, little speech bubble on that page, and that will come to my inbox. So if you have questions about the presentation, about something I taught, or if you have questions about the content lab and you just want to check on something, just use that chat box on that page, and I'd be really happy to answer any questions that come up for you.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed the presentation. I'm looking forward to see all the results that people get from implementing your work. And we'll do this again in a couple months. It's always a pleasure, Pamela. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
See ya.
Take care.